Gentlemen, I had to bring it up again because this is the most ruthless read of maybe the latter half of 2021 into 2022. And it's our good friends back in Sri Lanka. And you may keep asking yourselves, why do you keep dipping back into the pool of disaster that is Sri Lanka? Well, because this is what happens. This could potentially happen to any other country that jumped balls deep, head first into a full organic program. So if we opted to do this in the United States, this is exactly, and let me tell you, this is exactly what would happen. And it would not just be limited to this one country here. Let me explain a bit more, and then we'll be able to put two and two together. Chinese company intensifies fight against Sri Lanka over disputed fertilizer stocks. Chinese company Qingdao Seawind Biotech has intensified its fight against Sri Lanka over disputed fertilizer stocks and has proposed tough sanctions to be imposed at a time when the island country is experiencing an economic crisis. The government of Sri Lanka has already decided to pay $6.7 million to Qingdao Seawind Biotech Group Limited for the fertilizer, which was rejected from Sri Lanka after local tests had identified harmful bacteria. Also, Qingdao Seawind Biotech Group Limited, the Chinese company involved in the controversy Sri Lanka over imported fertilizer, has demanded US $8 million from additional director of the National Planned Quarantine Services of Sri Lanka for the loss and damage caused by the company. Sri Lanka government has suspended the importation of organic fertilizer from Qingdao Limited in September over quality issues, leading to a diplomatic spat between the two countries. It claimed that Erwinia was found in an organic fertilizer. Further, the People's Bank of Sri Lanka was also ordered by the court not to pay the Chinese company for the substandard fertilizer. Meanwhile, in October, the Economic and Commercial Office of the Chinese Embassy in Colombo blacklisted the People's Bank for failing to make the payment according to the letter of credit. In effect, what they have decided to do is take a country that is facing famine, real deal famine, due to a lack of yield on their organic farming that they immediately had to undo. And part of that whole thing of becoming organic was this deal they made with this Qingdao Seawind Biotech company that was going to supply them with this specialty seaweed fertilizer that showed up contaminated with the bacteria that took out their number 1 and 2 crops. Now, after all that, which has caused incredible inflation of their currency because they have no exports, they have no food to feed their people, China, to add insult to injury, said, well, since you only made a partial payment, we're going to launch economic sanctions against you since we also funded a lot of your infrastructure projects. It is insult to injury, and it is an absolute disaster of a geopolitical move to effectively, how is this not criminal? I guess is what I want to know.
It's not.
But the thing is what is anybody going to do about it, regardless of whether it's criminal or not? No one is going to do shit about it, and it's embarrassing as hell because, we're talking about how many people, what's the population of Sri Lanka? It's relatively large, right?
Yes. Large.
This is bananas.
22 million people.
22 million people. That's like LA.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so,
all right. My point being is that in the United States, if we opted to do this and we ran up short on food and exports and it created an economic disaster for us, guess what? Who owns a lot of our debt? It would be China. And dude, every country around the world would launch sanctions against us, and we would be put into a position of irrecoverable damage. Without a doubt. Everybody is hoping and praying the United States opts to do this because it would be the easiest way to watch the republic tumble. Maybe that's just me with fork in a light socket. Can we get that one more time, J Pink? Maybe this is me forking a light socket here. But is this not the most ruthless, shrewd, crazy response to a country facing absolute disaster to launch economic sanctions against you over $8 million that you're calling for above and beyond due to the hardship caused because you didn't want to take their tainted fertilizer? What the fuck is going on?
Hey, I'm gonna say this is par for the course for doing business with China. I mean, you know what, Matt? I feel like this case needs to be printed up and explained with all subtitles necessary to whatever country decides to accept economic aid from the People's Republic of China. Because, by the way, the People's Republic of China over the last 20 years has gone around throughout the rest of the world, especially to these less developed countries, and offered massive amounts of capital and aid in terms of technology and resources and construction of infrastructure. They come in, they offer it. However, when that offer is made, People's Republic of China almost, no, I'll say it, they have virtually annexed that country or that nation. And the Sri Lanka case is an example of that, in that essentially, People's Republic of China owns Sri Lanka. They own Sri Lanka, lock, stock, and barrel.
Talk to me, DeMay. You're the voice of reason. I'm watching this, and it's give me reason.
I sympathize and empathize with the people of Sri Lanka. However, I think what you're seeing is my big picture, myopic view of the situation is this: is that this is the development of a playbook, right, of how to squeeze nations in their most vulnerable state out of something they need the most with scarce resources and nowhere else to go. They're writing the playbook right now on how to do this. And so, the the thing I question, this is like, picking the part of a plot of a movie or something like that, but did they know when they sent that fertilizer that it had Erwinia in it? Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys know anything about Erwinia. I knew a
Nothing.
little bit. I remembered I knew a little bit about it from plant path class way back when, and I just had to go Google it. So this isn't just from memory, but so it basically is a bacteria that just kills plants outright. There's nothing you can do to cure it. Um, so once it's there, it's there. And
Oh,
then
okay. Hmm.
it also has been proven to kill gastrointestinal cells in humans. So if you eat something that has this in there and the disease has expressed signs or symptoms, you can still get sick from it. So not
Good.
exactly what you want to have. So the whole point there is I don't know if that was I don't know if that was on purpose or if they're just like, hey, let's just throw this out there and see if they don't test it. I don't know. But
Boys, I
now,
want
Okay.
to get us kicked off YouTube so bad right now. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
no, it's okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Because
I'm not going to do it. Y'all keep talking.
yeah, because
Zzz.
my when I was reading through that article, Matt, and it said Erwinia was detected. I too remembered my plant pathology classes, and I identify that as the pathogen that causes an extremely rapid bacterial blight in vegetable crops. Is that the same bacteria you identified, Ryan?
Yes.
Okay, extremely rapid bacterial, like in other words, Erwinia gets into a field of cabbage, for example. That cabbage is a puddle of goo in about 2 or 3 days. It's
Yeah.
gone.
Demay,
Uh,
if you get Erwinia into a field, are you having to remove soil and replace it, kind of sort of thing?
I don't know about that. I honestly
Like,
don't know. But
no, you won't have
uh,
to remove, but if I had a field with Erwinia, that would be the field where everything would be under steam for an hour. I'd crank that some bitch up to 212 and it would get steamed.
Ray's gonna give her the old Honolulu steamer. Usually only Sheila gets that, but you bring some Erwinia into the bedroom, and hey, we got a party. We've got a party. And I just ate chili,
Well,
by the way. All right, so
yeah.
the only other thing I was gonna say is, obviously they're squeezing them now with the economic sanctions. They're squeezing them now where they're saying, "Oh, you know what? By the way, we need $8 million extra for pain and suffering, and the damage you've
Yeah.
caused to our business and our reputation." I mean, I don't know how this gets worked out, but I think this is one to follow for sure. The geopolitical consequences of this are much larger than just some fertilizer and the organic farming piece. I mean, there's a whole bunch that we can talk about, but there's a lot going on in this situation, and I think it's very, very uh, interesting to follow along.
Well,
Erwinia,
I-
go ahead, Ray. Go ahead.
no, as I said, I think this scenario just needs to be a lesson to anybody that or any nation that gets offered by China infrastructure, sale of materials, whatever. I mean, because Matt, Ryan, have you ever wanted something, right? And you take one look at the guy that is selling or wants to sell that to you, and instead you get back in your car and you say, "Oh, fuck no, I'm out of here."
Yeah, Ray, I'm
Yeah,
from Memphis,
yeah,
so
yeah. Likewise, I'm from Honolulu, so there. But the same caution should apply when you have these shrewd groups of business people coming in from People's Republic of China. They're all in their black suits, nice ties, and shine shoes, and they talk a good story. And I know how they, talk. They tell you, "Oh, we can get you this, that, whatever," and "Oh, don't worry about the money. We'll take care of it." And then come to find out, the minute something doesn't go their way, it's pay up, fucker.
yeah. Thank you for watching this clip. Be sure to tune in to the Burn and Return podcast on any of your favorite podcast apps every Wednesday, where we discuss the industry's hottest news.